Ever considered about living on a lake community? Well, believe it or not, in Kansas City, that's more of a reality than it is a myth. There are actually 17 private lake communities in the Kansas City metropolitan area. Most of those reside on the Missouri side, particularly in eastern Jackson County. The rest are on the Kansas side of the state line. Most of those are in Johnson County. Now, we're not going to talk about all 17, but we are going to highlight 5 of the most popular lake communities in the Kansas City metropolitan area. So you should be able to find at least one lake community that fits your budget as well as your lifestyle. Now, we're not going to talk about them in any particular order, but I am going to save the very best one for last. So, if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is about living in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and more specifically, lake communities, then subscribe to my channel. Simply tap on the bell below so you'll be the first to receive information about changes that are taking place in the Kansas City real estate market. My name is Chris Pucci with the Living in Kansas City real estate team, and we get calls from folks just like you every day. So if you're thinking about moving in 9 days, 90 days, or even 9 months, please feel free to reach out. I can be contacted via phone, text, email, and better yet, schedule a Zoom call. Hey, there's nothing more than we'd like to do than to help you make a smooth move, not only into the Kansas City metropolitan area, but into that perfect lake community. So, speaking of lake communities, let's start with Lake Lotawana. Lake Lotawana is located in eastern Jackson County off of I-470 and Colburn Road. It was established back in 1927. The dam was completed in 1929, and the lake actually completed filling in 1935 due to a prolonged drought. The lake itself contains 480 acres of surface water, which makes it the largest private lake community in the Kansas City metropolitan area. It also features 27 miles of shoreline. So what kind of lake activities does it permit? Well, just about everything. Speedboating, sailing, pontoons, kayaking, canoeing, and swimming, just to name a few. What are the non-lake activities? Well, they offer basketball, pickleball, and tennis courts. They've got a nice small memorial garden, great place for reflection, and they have playgrounds for the kids. But if you really want to become integrated into the community, like most of the lake communities in the Kansas City Metro, they offer a number of different clubs. The 3 most prominent happen to be the Yacht Club, which was formed in 1933. This is the oldest club in Lake Lotawana. Actually was formed 3 years before the lake was actually completely filled. Another club called the Sportsman's Club. Now this is a little unique. If you're someone who is into skeet shooting or trap shooting, then you're going to love this club. They actually have 4 lighted voice-activated trap fields. And if you're a novice and you want to give this a shot, pardon the pun, you can actually take lessons and they'll rent you the guns. Perhaps the best club to join if you really want to become part of the community is the Lake Lotawana Community Club. Now this club is responsible for planning special events and holiday parties such as the 4th of July celebration. There is one other really cool perk about Lake Lotawana, and that is they have a really nice restaurant that literally sits right on the lake, giving you great lake views. And that's the Marina 27 Steak and Seafood Restaurant. If you live on the lake, the restaurant actually has boat slips, so literally you can just hop in your boat, tootle across the lake, park it in the slip, and enjoy an incredible dinner. This is a great restaurant, particularly if you're celebrating, say, a birthday, an anniversary, a promotion, a graduation, or if you just want to take your significant other to a really nice restaurant with terrific views. So all that being said, now let's focus a little bit on the population and the price of housing. So as I mentioned, this is a pretty good sized community. In fact, there are 2,470 residents and there's roughly 1,258 houses that make up Lake Lotawana. Now in terms of home values, they're going to range anywhere from $300,000 to over $2 million. median household value being $602,000. Living at Lake Lotawana, the dues range anywhere from a low of $1,000 to over $3,000 depending on your location, amenities, and services. Now, another thing that makes Lake Lotawana different than most of the other lake communities is the fact that we have a lot of people who actually live in the Kansas City metropolitan area, that's where their primary residence is, but also own lake homes here at Lake Lotawana. It does make sense because you're only 20, maybe 35 minutes away if you live here in the Kansas City metro area, as opposed to driving 3.5 hours in bumper-to-bumper traffic down to the Lake of the Ozarks. So, all this being said, what really makes Lake Lotawana so popular is one, the size of the lake. Two, it's got a terrific restaurant in the Marina 27 Steak and Seafood Restaurant. Three, you've got a wide range of prices in terms of home value, so it can fit just about anyone's budget. And finally, I don't know, maybe it's because it's the weekenders, but this lake always seems to have a really high energy vibe. So now what we're going to do, we're going to move on to our second lake, and that is going to be Lake Tapawingo. Lake Tapawingo is located 12 miles north of Lake Lotawana. It's situated between I-70 and US Highway 40. Lake Tapawingo is the smallest of the private lake communities in the Kansas City metro. It's an intimate, tight-knit lake community that is centered around an 87-acre lake. There are only 350 homes with approximately 850 residents. In terms of home values, they're going to range anywhere from about $200,000 to over $2 million. Homes that are on the lakefront, they're going to start somewhere in the neighborhood of $400,000 and going up. The median home value is approximately $421,000. Now, like Lake Lotawana, there are dues. Dues are going to be somewhere around $1,100 to $1,500 depending on the home's location, the amenities, and the city services. All homes have access to their own private dock. So, what kind of lake activities can you do on an 87-acre lake? Well, believe it or not, this lake does support small boating, water skiing, tubing, canoeing, kayaking, and swimming. Pretty much the same things that you can find on all the lake communities in the Kansas City metropolitan area. Now, in terms of off-lake activities, basketball courts, soccer fields, as well as tennis and pickleball. Now, in terms of clubs, there aren't as many as you might find some of the other lake communities, but they do offer a men's club and a women's clubs, and these two clubs are responsible for putting on various events throughout the year. So, if you're looking for a very tight-knit lake community on a really charming 87-acre lake, then this community might really be a great fit for you. So I'm just curious, in the comment section below, of these two lake communities, which one do you find the most appealing? Now we're going to move on to our third lake. We're still in the same general area. We're on the eastern Jackson County, and this one we're going to check out is called Lakewood. This particular lake community is located on just off of I-470 on Lakewood Boulevard. Lakewood is a little different than the other two lake communities that we've talked about so far. Lakewood is a master plan community that was established in 1972, and it has become one of the most desirable neighborhoods in Lee's Summit. This community has more of a suburban country club feel to it as opposed to a really lakesy kind of environment that most people envision. Again, because this is a master plan community, there are over 2,400 homes consisting of single family, townhouses, and villas. Depending on the type of home that you're looking for or you're interested in, the prices are going to range anywhere from roughly $300,000 to well over $1 million. The median home value in Lakewood is $453,000. Now, as far as dues are concerned, they're very, very reasonable. For a single family home, they're $195 a month, and for a townhouse or a villa, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $155. So, what type of activities and amenities does Lakewood have to offer? Remember, this has more of a country club feel. So let's start with the lake. They actually offer two lakes. that total 365 acres of surface water. These two lakes are suitable for things like pontoon boats, sailboats, paddle boats, small watercraft, as well as swimming. Now, each of these two lakes does come with its own marina, which has boat slips, but unfortunately, to get one of these slips, you're on a wait list, which is roughly about 15 years long. Let's direct our attention to the off-lake amenities that Lakewood has to offer. Well, they offer an 18-hole championship golf course. They have 3 swimming pools, tennis courts, volleyball courts, basketball courts, walking and jogging trails, and 7 playgrounds scattered throughout the community. In addition, they have a clubhouse with on-site dining as well as a swim beach. And if you're looking to be involved in the community, they have approximately 12 clubs that you can take advantage of. If you're looking for a really truly lake community, Lakewood really isn't going to fit that bill. However, if you're someone whose lifestyle is more, I want kind of that suburban country club feel with a nice lake, Lakewood is going to be a really good fit for you. So far, we've talked about 2 really lakesy communities in Lake Tapawingo and Lake Lotawana. We've talked about a really upscale in Lakewood. So we're going to talk about Lake Weatherby, which is kind of in the middle in terms of the feel, the cost, and things of that nature. But this happens to be another one of my favorite lake communities. It's quiet, it's got a really nice vibe to it, and it's centered around a lake with rolling hills, mature trees, and believe it or not, there are 9 parks that are integrated throughout this community. So Lake Weatherby, as mentioned, it's just located south of the airport, just south of Berry Road and west of Interstate 29. So easy access, you can get anywhere you want to go in the city. This particular lake community was established in 1937. Its calling card is the fact that it has very pristine waters. In terms of what you can do on this lake, it's a 274 acre lake. You can pontoon, you have sailboating, small watercraft or runabouts, canoes, and kayaking. So far, all the lake communities that we have focused on reside on the Missouri side of the state line. So what we're going to do right now, though, is we're going to move over to the Kansas side, and we're going to focus on what many consider to be the premier lake community in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and that would be Lake Quivira. Now, I'm a little biased because I lived in this lake community for over 22 years. But if you're looking for a lake community that feels like a true resort with lots of histories, an expansive array of amenities, but still maintains that really lakesy feel, then you have found it in Lake Quivira. Now, Lake Quivira, in terms of location, is in northern Johnson County. It's just off I-435 on Holiday Drive, just south of the Kansas River, so it makes getting around Kansas City really convenient. The lake itself was started back in 1922. The dam wasn't completed until 1929, and they opened up Crescent Beach as well as the 3-story, approximately 10,000 square foot Spanish clubhouse back in 1930. In 1966, it became a private gated community. Up until that point, it was open to the public. In terms of Lake Quivira itself, it offers an extensive array of amenities. The heart of the lake community is the lake itself. Now, it's not as large as some of the other lakes, such as Lake Lotawana, but it does cover or span 224 acres of water surface. But what really makes it special is the fact that it is spring fed. And in those summer months, I mean when it's really hot in July and August, the water stays really nice and cool. It's perfect for swimming and all the other boat activities that the lake permits. What does Lake Quivira allow? There's water skiing, speedboating, pontoons, kayaks, runabouts, things of that nature, as well as swimming. Now, I will say this though, they do limit the horsepower to 25 horsepower. Off-lake activities, it's quite extensive. Let's first start with the 95-year-old clubhouse that was renovated about 15 years ago. This clubhouse has 3 levels with expansive views of the lake. On the main level, you have dining. On the upper level in the ballroom for special occasions, there's dining as well. And on the lower level, which is the 19th hole, which also looks out onto a patio with terrific views of the lake. So you have 3 dining options in the clubhouse. Adjacent to the clubhouse, you have Crescent Beach, which also includes a nice pier. Now the beach during the summer session is always groomed daily. So when you wake up in the morning and you go to the beach, it's nice and smooth. Now, recently in 2020, across the street from the clubhouse, they just opened up a 43,000 square foot state-of-the-art community center. It includes a 2-lane, 25-meter lap pool. You've got hot tubs, whirlpools, saunas. You have a walking track that has views of the lake, a golf simulator so you can play on top-rated golfs. And speaking of golf, you've got an 18-hole par 71 championship golf course that features zoysia fairways, bent green grass greens, which by the way, their greens are the fastest greens in the city. You've got a putting clock, a chipping area, and a driving range. Now, in terms of tennis courts or pickleball courts, you have both indoor and outdoor courts. The outdoor courts are lighted, so they allow for evening play. You have equestrian trails as well as a stable, so that you have a place to park your horse. There are over 12 miles of hiking and biking trails throughout, and if you want to join a club, you have almost 40 clubs that you can choose from. Well, there's roughly 1,000 residents, and there are almost 400 homes. I believe right now it's 396 homes. The median home value is $1,195,000 per Redfin. Homes start roughly at about $650,000 and they go up from there well over $2.5 million. When you buy a home in Lake Quivira, there is a mandatory membership and transfer fee of $30,000. In addition to that fee, you have monthly dues of $850 a month plus a $300 quarterly food and beverage fee. So here's the bottom line with Lake Quivira. Again, I lived here for 22 years. I may be biased, but this is an amazing place to live. A terrific place to raise a family. It's a tight-knit community, and you just have so much you can do. You really never have to leave on the weekend. So here's my conclusion to our little video today. You probably can see there are quite a variety of lake communities, from laid-back casual to nice, quiet, tight-knit communities to high energy to resort-style lake communities. I would be an invaluable resource if living in a lake community is something you want to do. And if that is the case, why don't we set up a time where we can chat? You can get a hold of me via phone, text, email, or set up a Zoom call. And if you would, do me a favor, please. Like the video and subscribe to my channel. One last thing before I let you go. In addition to being a realtor, I'm also a lender. And unfortunately, not all of us can buy a home all cash, so those of you who need financing, I can help you navigate that process and answer any questions that you might have. So, all that being said, thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it informative. And until then, I look forward to showing you around the Kansas City metropolitan area and, more importantly, help you find that perfect lake community.